Live stream, is it live? Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Capital Club. It's our honor to host you tonight. It's been a pleasure to work with Raphael Nagel on all the initiatives he's got with the Abrahamic Business Circle, and we are proud to be associated with him and working with him in that. So we'd just like to introduce Raphael Nagel. He's the founder and the chairman of the Abrahamic Business Circle, and he's also proudly a life member of the Capital Club. So we thank you. And we've got His Excellency Ahmed Obaid Mansoori,
yes,
also a member of the club and a co-founder of the Abrahamic Business Circle as well. Lastly, we've got the main guest of honor. We welcome you to our club, sir.
Thank you.
His Excellency Ayoob, the President of the Economic Peace Center and a former Minister of the Prime Minister's Office for Special Functions. We welcome you and we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you to you all for coming. Thanks to this amazing country that, from my personal point of view today, is without any doubt the capital of tolerance in the world. In the UAE, for all the people who don't know it, and also for friends in Israel and in other places of the world, the UAE has around about 1 million local population, around about 9 million foreign population. I think it's really amazing that we all are able here to live in this harmony and in this unusual environment where it's very difficult to find. On the other side, I would love to thank to the leaders of this country for making this really unbelievable agreement happening. I found that it's a very innovative, very an unusual solution what they found here. It's really outstanding, and I'm sure it will be not the last agreement in the area what we can find. And our big hope, and my big hope personally, is that we can come to a point where we have a big common market in the Middle East, not only with the GCC countries on a much bigger way. I don't want to take too much time because I'm not the main person here. The main person here is without any doubt my dear friend Ayoob, former Minister of Israel of the Prime Minister's Office, former Minister for the Deputy Minister of Development of the Negev, also former Minister of Communication, and without any doubt somebody very, very outstanding, because opposite to what we all will think that an Israeli minister is Jewish, he's not Jewish. And I would love to give the floor to him at first. At the second moment, I would thank ever, and I will thank forever my dear friend, His Excellency Ahmed.
Yes.
And Mansoori. Without him, I'm very convinced we never would have the opportunities to sit here together. He was the first one who supported the idea from the beginning to create an unbelievable initiative of the Abrahamic Business Circle. And I think it's really, really outstanding what you did there. Thank you very, very much for all your support.
Thank you.
Please, Ayoob.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be beside you, my brother Ibrahim, that invite me here with my friend, of course, Ahmed Mansoori. It's an opportunity for me as an Israeli Arab to be here beside all the gentlemen that's coming to hear us about Israel, about the peace agreement with Emirates, and of course, this is give me much proud that I'm come again here. Before 2 years, I speak here in Arabic in the conference of the communication of a conference, the global conference that's here exactly in Dubai, with thousands of people from leadership from all the world, including Emirates. And I believe in this time that we have an opportunity to move to peace agreement after I met different leadership. And I'm going back to Israel and say to the government, this is the time to go to make peace with all the Gulf states, with all the Saudi and Arabian coalition. It is opportunity. We didn't have it before. I'm long time was part from the security of Israel. I am Arabian, but I feel more Israeli than anyone. And of course, I do a lot for my state and with my family. And important for me, after a long time of conflict around us, to be the front to make the peace that give opportunity to make business, to go to make better economic for the citizen, for all the states around us. It's not easy. I must say it's not easy was to say that we have opportunity like that, but I'm in my heart say that we're going to successful. And I was a long time, sometimes the minister of the region, the minister of the inter-Israel, and of course I was also the important officer, important minister of the communication, cyber, and other things. That is not legitimate to be in like this position, they thinking around us. But I'm very happy from my position in 2009, that how beginning the process. In 2009, I bring to Israel a princess from Bahrain, discreet. The princess was very sick. He says that only in Israel I be better and be healthy. She has invitation to US, but she says only in Israel, in the Holy Land, I be better. I'm asking Prime Minister Netanyahu about if I could bring him. He says maybe he happened something that make here propaganda with our neighbors. I told him we have a chance to move to a new direction with different states that we're not thinking before 10 years that we be here free and talking and discussion about economic peace. And I don't want to talk much. Maybe some of them hear about this situation. The princess coming to Israel. I put him in hospital discreet, and he, after 2 months, going back to Bahrain. Before he going, his husband, the economic minister, Ahmed bin Khalifa, asked me what I could do for your state. You give me big prize. My wife that I so love, is back in Bahrain. And I told him one thing I want. I want my state, Israel, become in peace with the Gulf state. And he beginning after times to talk about that, the common delegation, good delegation. But I want you to know that is not easy, but when you write in your steps, you successful. That's what happening, and I'm very happy that after that, I left the government before 1 year to continue. I'm left because I want to continue to make good relationship between all the states around, but more than that, that people make economic. I mean, I bring especially, I convinced the American friends that was part from the conference in Bahrain, and bring especially center. I call it the Center Economic Peace that give all the solution in different areas to make the relationship strong between all the states around us. And now we move with that I come in here before to speak about what is the issue that everyone could do and could cooperate with Israel. First of all, Israel is high level in medicine. Of course, people could found different companies that is give solution that's in the high level. If I'm talking about medicine, I mean people that could come in and make surgeries in Israel in high level. We could opposite. We could send professors and doctors to make the same surgeries also here in the Gulf State, exactly in Amarat. That could be the important issue. We looking after a hospital that we could cooperate with them or other hospital in Israel. We have in Israel a hospital that's named Tel Shomer, is one of the important hospitals in all the world. And of course, we're going to cooperate between a hospital from here and Raphael know what is the name of the hospital from here that want to cooperate. And the other thing that we have it, we have also used advanced medical treatment, like we are the best to fighting the cancer. Absolutely, we could find solution in different areas for women, for something very high technologies. The other thing that I think Israel is good with that, to cooperate with them, is the agriculture. When I'm talking about agriculture, I mean to the food security. In the food security, we could find solution in the sea that we could do the best former fishes. We could do another things like from convert air, that is from air with no, we could make water. That means that we have machines that some of them little, some suppose big, that convert air from air, you found water. This is something no one have it. But this is give chance to support the food security. Also, we have greenhouses, very professional in greenhouses, of course. And the other thing that is very important, and we very professional in that, the financial investment field. That is, we have enough foundation, enough banking and other that give solution for many things if they are cooperation from here and there. And the other thing that is important also, the cosmetics, that is, we have the high level, more than France. The cosmetics in Israel in different factories, big factories for all the world. We send different material. This is something that important. That's another thing is the beauty devices for professional and home use. I mean this is something from the high tech. Of course, we have millions of different companies of high tech that we successful with that. People did not know that is Waze is a company from Israel, and Mobilize also, of course, company that people buy it from Israel. And of course, like that, we could find many companies that is very famous in the world. People did not know that they are from Israel. I'm very happy that I give you a little bit about what is the chance to make peace, economic peace. And we could, after that, give you any information. If I'm talking in macro, I think important for everyone to know in micro what is their solution in some direction. And Raphael is my friend. The address for anything necessary, I think, is the opportunity to make all the relationship better. We're going to make another peace agreement in a few days, maybe, and I'm sure that this is not stop in 2 or 3 or 4 countries. More than that, because the people in all the area hate the conflicts, hate the violence, hate the terror, hate the extremism. No way that is we stay freeze, because this is not give any benefit for anyone. I'm like Amarat so much. I'm like the leader of Amarat in everywhere. And I hope that we cooperate in all the areas in economy. Thank you very much that you listen to me.
Thank you very much, my dear friend Ayoob. I think you did give us a very clear explanation about our main export product. Our main export product in Israel, as you all know, it's technology. Apart from technology, of course, we are very far, or we are leaders without any doubt in health. And the main aim of this evening was not promoting any political ideas or things like this, as you all can imagine. My big wish, together with my dear friends, is to promote business. We believe in economic peace through business. In other words, what we want to create, we want to follow the footprints, what the leaders have given us for this peace agreement. In other words, we want to create business. The ministers this evening here to receive your proposals, your wishes. We want to hear very clear what you are interested, where we can help you, where we can work as a catalyst to promote this business opportunity and make it happen. Why? We believe that a peace agreement, what is not solid, what is not founded on a real relation on the ground, it's very worthless for everybody. It's nice to have agreements, but we have to make them real happening. I would love to pass over the word to His Excellency Ahmed Mansoori.
Thank you.
And to hear your vision about the actual situation.
Thank you very much, Raphael, and thank you, Your Excellency. And thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman and Vic, for the introduction and for the opportunity to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum jami'an, shalom, and it's wonderful to be together to brainstorm and talk, perhaps think loud about different opportunities. If I'm going to start, I can maybe start from the end. What our real objective here? For us, peace is something. Peace has different levels of peace. Peace either means security, or it means stability, or it means safety. Sometimes people confuse between peace and safety. But we have reached the level of peace that means prosperity. And with prosperity, that's why our main focus in the country is to development. If you're going to summarize the country in one word, is development. Development internally, development at the regional level, at the same time, development, and spearheading development to other countries in the region and outside the region. And so the peace, the word peace is very idealistic, but at the same time can be translated. So when the leadership have both countries have had the vision to make this peace, and they tried to pave the way to create a very conducive environment for development and involvement and advancement in business, advancement in economy and other areas. The leaders' main roles is political level, diplomatic level, at the same time to pave the way legally and at all levels to make sure the peoples of both nations at the same time of the region to benefit from the peace. And we're going to talk about different issues, like the different expectations from both sides. We're going to talk about what does it take and what it requires to make it happen. But the whole idea is how can we translate our role here in the business community? How can we translate such initiative, which is a higher level, to make it culturally and practically in a very pragmatic way to cascade down? We as people in the business community, usually business people, they lead their sectors, they lead their companies, they lead their businesses. And especially when the platforms are very ready, and I think that we have this different levels of peace coming, different agreements are happening in all sectors, And thanks to His Excellency mentioned about different important sectors, and to Raphael when he mentioned about the technology. We have created this here in this country. It's like a commercial hub, in the way that where innovation and people can realize their dreams and their goals, and we can really reach levels of complementing one another in sectors that really can help our countries, our people, at the same time to move forward. However, we have, I will try to be very more practical. I will add some spices to our talk, if you don't mind, so we can, have more experience. We have different expectations, and lately we've been experiencing on the relationship. So we have different expectations, like, the expectation of the government and the people who are real in business, who are solid in the business, they know how things work. They know how things work, and they know their sectors, and they know where to go. And they know how to overcome cultural sensitivities, and cultural sensitivities, can be with different examples, with their bargaining on different areas. Each culture has its own unique and distinguished way of making business. So, however, the people, I think it requires more homework from their side to understand one another more, to understand the motives of each country. I think one of the areas that they have to, to think about, how can we reach a level that to understand, whatever the government has done in terms of paving the way, the next level is with us. So this shifting level from the higher will and the higher and the sectorial macro level, how can we translate it to that? So when they meet one another, they come from different approaches. One of the hindrances which I've seen here, for example, many ideas there in Israel. So some people here they're very excited about these ideas, but they have not worked there. So here we have to have a mechanism to, when they communicate, how can we establish new ideas here? So the requirement from Israel to educate the customers in that area, how they can use this technology, and the requirements from the others.
So you have, if you allow me the question, you have the feeling that we have to educate our both business or adapt our business behaviors.
It's about
those cultures.
I think the key to be professional. When you talk about business, you have to know you have to do a plan, you have to do studies, and as they say, financial golden rule. You have to, the higher rate of return comes if you take higher risk, but your risk should be calculated professionally. I think there are areas to work on. Right now, we have some kind of sense of excitement about this piece. So if you notice, most of the people from both countries, they're focusing on the projects within these two countries. So how can we sustain that level? What can we do to sustain that excitement to make it happen? For some businesses, especially in our region, the quick gains are very important. They want to see quick results. Some of the projects are industrial projects. It requires very strategic, and the gain comes after years. So we have to manage between these things. And so I think more sessions are required to discuss areas for different sectors, how to deal with them. Was it clear or the point? What I mean,
the point was very clear.
Okay, thanks. So on the other hand, I think we need to work on the cultural gap. It has been decades, we have no relationship, and decades, of this gap, although physically we are not far away. Perhaps we have many technologies, Israeli technologies, we take it from different continents. It goes very far away, but it's next door to us, and we not have opportunity to that. So now, how can we become more efficient, and and how to capitalize on that? And from the Israeli side, they should really help us to show it's cost-effective, it's more efficient, and hassle-free. Here we provide hassle-free platforms for commerce to people to make businesses, to realize their dreams and to use their innovation. But from the other side, it has to be different. We have to see the adding value of doing business together as very close neighbors.
So, if I understand you very clear, Ahmed, and I'm asking.
I hope I say something wrong.
As moderator,
Okay.
You think that the approach what many Israelis have when they come to the UAE, trying to raise money for their venture capital funds, coming over with a pitch book and trying to get the Emiratis to sign up a check very quickly?
No,
I think it's too
nobody came to me for that. No, honestly, personally, nobody came to me for that.
Okay.
But there are stereotypes from both sides.
Okay.
Some stereotype, and then because people don't know, because even if you speak the same language, even if you are from two different Arab countries,
Okay.
There's some cultural gap. But we really have to do our homework, our studies. We cannot just jump, and this piece cannot be taken for in a way that we should not expect any goose with the golden eggs, or somebody puts golden mouth in our mouth, golden spoon in our mouth. So what we expect People have to do their homework. We, as in the business community, we should take leadership. If you are a leader, you understand business more, you understand your specialty more. How can we translate this peace agreement and everyone in his or her sector? Many people from our side, I saw, they're excited about certain technologies, but they have not been introduced. And from the other side, I see there is hesitation. They require companies with experience, long-time experience in technologies that nobody have seen it. So in certain very specific areas, like agriculture,
the peace agreement is very new, as we both know.
Yeah.
The peace agreement was signed on the 15th of September. They have only passed a few weeks, to be very honest, and I think the expectation is very high, I imagine, from both sides.
Exactly.
Surprisingly, I can see from the Emirati side, if you allow me, the same expectation and even the time frame than in Israel. Normally, the Israelis, they're very pushing and trying to get things done, but I really have the feeling that the emotion of the Emirati side is equally high. And I agree with you, we should find projects to make them happen, really, not only signing memorandums of understanding. We have to come to a point where we really make deals, long-term business relations, and of course, with any doubt, joint ventures. We have to come where, and that was my question, the initial question.
Yeah.
I think we don't have to come to a point where we only try to get it from selling our products from Israel to here. We have to come to a point where we also should think about developing our companies here, where we should try to create jobs in the UAE. Why not? Using the UAE as a business hub and producing any added value. But I'm sure this will happen, and I think it's a question of time.
It's a question of time, at the same time of art also, and innovation. And here the role of consultants is very important to do the bridging very fast and find the platforms so people can really work together, and so that we minimize the stereotype, and they have become more pragmatic and practical. I think the good thing about both countries in the region, I think they're most advanced countries, that they were focusing on development in their area, and they are very successful. So this piece is can make us reach an area in certain sectors, complement one another, and create a positive synergy. At the same time, if we talk about economy, we can talk also about the regional level. How can we spearhead this development outside? And there are multiple economic models there. Whether we do productivity model or other productivity triangles, or we can do different areas of economic clustering, for example. Others we can really use in the region. There are lots of models for that. But internally also we have to start with ourselves. How can we work together? Our main areas. Sorry.
What would you ask for? Or what would you require from an Israeli company to come to the UAE and sell here? What would you say would be the right way to start doing business with the UAE? And what is the right way also for Ayoob? The same question. What is the right way for an UAE company if they want to start investing or doing business in Israel? Is there anything what you could recommend us, you both? From my experience?
From my very humble little experiences in this area, I think what's very important, number one, to listen to each other and not to have pre-perceptions from both sides, and the expectation should not be very high. Should be a studied, calculated risk. At the same time, we should be professional. We use, I think we share our ethical business standards, and we share the vision for the future. We are very good in lots of strategies, but we want to make sure that we set the parameters for the meeting, and everyone should be very clear, and they provide their interest. But I think mainly, if we just stick with the main, the basic of professionalism, I think in terms of doing proper studies and measurement, and then also everything should be documented, and then we meet our commitments, and people have to really honor their what they will deliver from either side or both sides at that level. So in each sector. At the same time, I think it's good to have catalyst projects, certain catalyst projects in different sectors, and here the role of the government is very important to pave the way, to introduce certain catalyst projects, so they can make sure that the procedures and there's no hindrance from either sides. Legally, procedure, everything. Secondly, also that will help to have other companies to follow, to benefit from when the government paves the way for them in each sector.
Fantastic.
I think that's really important. Instead of talking about tens of hospitals and hundreds of schools, I know one school, one hospital. In each sector, we focus on one thing, and then we see how things go. That will smooth things.
So if I understand you right, you would recommend to control the expectation
Not
and
saying-
try to make things more happen on a more professional way.
And not control. The word control, I think, is very big. It's not control. It's to control our emotions individually, and have proper expectation based on the studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your recommendation for Israel, Ayoob? What would you recommend an entrepreneur from the UAE when he's coming over to Israel?
Look, first of all, you must be surprised. From Sudan going to come to make companies in a few weeks, we agree about that. But from here, of course, anything necessary, we are the address where they could call you, of course, and we give him all the direction that is easy to make the right economic process. I think this is the way, but you are addressed, maybe there are another addresses, but we, as an economic place, that we have a specialist center, we help everyone that you sent it, and the government sent it to us, to looking about any investment in Israel. This is the direction, but could be company from here, they could open company in Israel, no problem. We are free marketing in Israel.
Fantastic.
Nothing borders with anything that block anyone to make business from all the world, including in the media. And we do reform in everything. Everything is open. Anything necessary for anyone to make any business in any areas is exactly in the high level, like medicine, agriculture, another things I don't want to talk about.
Sure.
We are here, the address.
Fantastic.
We could find solution for everyone.
Ahmed.
I mean, this very positive, strong government will would like to translate to the people, because when you talk with people with different sectors, cybersecurity or other areas, people, they have their own reservation from there. So I think in certain areas, big governments, they know how to make the business with each other. Big companies, they know how to get it. It's like China. If you are a big company, you can get into China. China is a much bigger market. But small companies, medium size, they cannot get that easily. So I think that lots of efforts should be done. So this very beautiful vision should be cascaded down in a way that to attract people. And I think this it requires promotional boards for commerce and for tourism. They should really pave the way for such thing, to put the right people in the right place and the right platform. And it's here the economy is very open, and people they start from very small size business, and they grow very fast, companies, individuals. And but here is very, very, we know about our procedures here, so there should be some more work in that area. And if there should be some certain catalyst product and experience, can be shared with people, how to start until the end. I think communication is the key for this, at all levels, cascaded down at all levels, because here we're talking about people to people, and you have many SMEs there, and also they can work here, and they have intellectual properties, IPs and others. Lots of things that we have to think, how can we match the interests? Maybe the goals are different, but there should be some mutual benefits for both sides.
At the moment, there's a very interesting project going on. It's not completed, but as far as I've heard, it will be made real very quite soon. One of the sheikhs of the local sheikhs is planning to set up, together with an Israeli company, an investment fund. And the idea is to invest in startups here in the UAE, and also at the same time to invest in startups in Israel. And the main idea is to start joint venture companies, that we come to a point where we are really able to not only selling things or goods to each other, that we come to a point where we are able to come to a point of joint venture. And I think that's an absolutely outstanding initiative here. As far as I've heard, that they're thinking in the first step mainly about seed capital. The maximum volume is around about $150 million. Yeah, it's a starting project, and I think that's something very interesting. And I think healthcare probably will be food security will be some of the main things that we could look into, or they will look into here. I think as far as I've heard, probably you can explain also that food security is a big issue here in the UAE, and I think water technology, without any doubt. What's your experience there?
There's the great interest, and there are also great opportunities in that area. And but I think, how can we translate that? I mean, there are certain from what I've seen, the communication that was in certain areas, but I think the interest is there because part of the policies and one of the focus there in the country. But we want to make sure that, you know, from government side, their bureaucrats, their employees, they should communicate and to listen to others. Like here, we had several initiatives in the country that we involve communities, the business communities, to tell us what they want, what procedures work for them, which procedures are hinders. So throughout, from the 90s until now, so we always have groups and associations to communicate with them. How can we make their life easy there? So I think there should be some kind of platforms to understand these things. And from the business community, they should take leadership about their own specialty and area. You know, because they know the best, and they should communicate, you know, what incentives they need. I think many incentives will be there. Incentives, hawafis, they'll be there. And we make sure that how can we capitalize on that? The mechanism of making this reality. And the goodwill is there, but I want to make sure at all levels people can benefit from that. And then later also with some projects that we can also involve other countries and the areas, so people can see the benefit of peace. You know, because peace is one of the main platform for stability and, you know, to move forward, not locally, it's internationally.
One of the ideas of His Excellency is to organize for beginning of January a roadshow to Israel, inviting local companies from the UAE with a very clear investment project, and organize a roadshow to finding their counterparts in Israel. And in the next step, of course, the same thing, bringing Israeli companies to the UAE, to setting up roadshows, also not only for investments. The idea is much bigger. The idea is also finding people who invest, obviously, giving investment opportunities, distribution contracts, and why not also finding new clients, yeah? So one of the big ideas, what I think is really amazing from His Excellency, he wants to begin from middle of January. It all depends about COVID. We're all in the moment a little bit uncertain of timing, yeah? But one of the nice things what we want to organize is to get several Emirati companies over to Israel, give them the opportunity to meet in a big forum, in a big hotel. Yeah, there are not so many.
I think the process is it to, you must be the center here, that they come in and say, we want to cooperate. What kind of cooperation? And we are in Israel,
Exactly,
waiting for you with big delegation, with different area. When you come in, I invite the other side that want to cooperate, and we close them together. This is the issue. If you want to make the right steps and be sure that is nothing, nothing in the middle.
Absolutely.
Any accident or something, we have to be in the middle. You are here, you represent as a big group, you bring him as a delegation. We're going now with different another state round to agreement, few agreement. We wait only the corona is the problem now with Bahrain, that if not we cross far away with cooperation, I mean economic cooperation. So this is the opportunity that they close to you. You found the big people, delegation that could come in to Tel Aviv, to Jerusalem, to be part, to looking around in tourism, in medicine, in agriculture, in education, anything. I want to say to you, I don't say it before. In 1 month, I think we open here a school to learn Hebrew. This is something that I have to tell you. People want to come here free and do it. So it is something that is maybe important for some people. And the other centers that we want, like hospital, that we could, hospital from Israel could cooperate with hospital here, that you found who is it, and another center of innovation that we want to open in this hospital or another place. We're going to talk about that, but the opportunities, we have it. The Amarat must agree and go. This is, you couldn't sit in your home and the opportunity come to your home and say, hello, I come to do business. You must come in, and we come also with big delegation next time. I'm not coming alone. I'm going to bring also big delegation. I'm convince my brother Raphael, and we bring big delegation in different areas. I mean, when I'm talking about companies, I mean big companies that give solution in different areas. This is the direction. I'm sure that we successful. Everything beginning with a little bit steps, but at last everything become okay.
For sure. Something well introduced, my dear brother Ahmed. With no doubt, we have to find standardized legal contracts. That's something what we want to help to provide a little bit. No business is done without legal security. So security financing will be a big issue, where of course we want to give the right support at any moment to introduce to banks, financial institutes, and so on. And also given a basic understanding, of course, will go to the point where we will give legal advice in detail, but basic framework, basic understanding of the legal situation on both sides will be provided, because, of course, what we cannot do is not the point only to visit each other, what is very nice and very exciting and meeting a lot of people, but we have to come to a point where we are able to close deals. And to close a deal, we have to have the right product or the right interest. We have to have the right legal framework, and of course we have to have the right finance, because without money nothing is possible. And that's a little bit the idea what we want to do all together here, to help all of you, to providing you the legal framework and the finance framework to make things really happen. Yeah, that this is not only a start of something. Another point what we have, without any doubt, we have our dear friend Satija, who is one of our co-founders of the Abrahamic Business Circle, and you can see that why you can think, what has an Abrahamic Business Circle to do with somebody from another religion? And it has very much to do, because one of the amazing things in the UAE, as I said before, we are living 206 nationalities together with a lot of different religions. We're all living here very peaceful, and of course we believe not only in bilateral solutions for both countries, we believe that we are able to find a way that we can do even business between 2 or 3 countries. One of the great ideas, for example, is to create an agriculture project in India with Israeli greenhouse technology to secure food security here in the UAE. Yeah? So we really don't want to think not only between these two countries. Our big idea from the beginning in the Abrahamic Business Circle was we want to give it a global view. We didn't want to put it only on the point of view of Israel and the UAE. It's an amazing thing, with no doubt, but we both are very small countries with limited opportunities, obviously, to the space, and we want to make it global. I think that's what we have learned, all as experts here in the UAE, that our view has to be big and global, and that's what we want to introduce also here, and we want to come to the point that we are able to make this happen here. I would love that we are not only speaking we and you're all sleeping here, because it makes not a lot of sense. It would be amazing if you would start introducing questions and we could give you the right or the wrong answers, depending on the point of view. Alex.
I would like to ask you, thank you. I think we are talking a lot about what the Israelis have to offer to the UAE. We are talking about agriculture. We are talking about medical, we are talking about high-tech. I would like to ask the following question. I'm sure there must be a lot of opportunities that the UAE can offer to Israel also. And I would like to, the three of you actually, to give me an idea of what you think that the UAE has actually to offer to Israel, because when I look at the knowledge and when I look at the technologies in Israel, I'm quite impressed. On the other side, when I look at the infrastructure over here, I'm quite impressed too. So the question is, besides infrastructure, what else could the UAE offer to the Israelis?
As again, it's an amazing question without any doubt. And if the meeting would have been in Israel, I'm sure we would have offered very much the Emirati products and not the Israeli products. But being here in the UAE, we thought it would be more interesting that most of the guests are here from the UAE. We wanted to give them a little bit of view from the Israeli technology side. What is our export product? Where our strengths? Where our not some big strengths. Yeah. What can the UAE give to us? I think we can start from a very simple thing, as you say from the beginning, logistics. With no doubt at all, the UAE is one of the leading business hubs in the world. It's an amazing place for legal structuring without going too deep into this point, because I think everybody can work with his own mind. Yeah, the legal structuring in the UAE is really unusual, offers a lot of interesting things for holding companies and so on. Yeah, and of course, why not? The UAE offers to all of us, and I'm the first one who is taking advantage to it, global business contacts. I would never be able to sit in a room like here with so many nationalities than I'm able to here in the UAE. It's impossible. There's no other place in the world. It's the only place in the world, I think, where you get so many global business contacts in such a reduced space and time. Yeah. So I think for every Israeli company, from my personal point of view, should minimum think of having here a representative office, because I think the UAE is with no doubt at all the gateway to the world. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Please, I pass over to you, Ahmed.
Okay. I reiterate and what was said by Raphael about the infrastructure, logistics, transport, trade. This is a hub place. This area, we have entrepreneurs where they can grow. They really work hard, very pragmatic, and beside the network, it's hassle-free procedures here, and people can realize their dreams. Why we have multiculturalism is very high here, mainly because everyone feels home. At the same time, they can work. I mean, the marketplace, the commercial aspect, this is not something easy. The know-how of how to make trade and how to link, and the trust of the international community. Even the financial sector is very strong here, one of the leading sectors in that area. So in multiple sectors, we are leading, and we know how to enjoy these technologies that come from outside and how can we utilize them and capitalize on them to grow. Not just us as Emiratis, everyone here as business people. And here, the business community is leading their sectors. And without restriction on that. And so many areas, I think, can be better. That's why we can complement one another. Many, people talk about technology and agri-tech and others, these are very important sectors. But beyond that, how can you put that into reality and go globally? So this by itself, the know-how of, being a commercial hub is something, it has been for a long time. This vision has been embedded historically in many areas, and now people discover these things. But in so many sectors, we can really utilize these creative technological ideas in an innovative way and make them reality. And people here are traders mainly, entrepreneurs in their area. So and they not just for them, they created systems to include other guests from other countries also to be part of this success.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Ayoob?
I think that is, we know what they have here, but the connection is that people must understand that the company that want to invest, it must open marketing. To open marketing, they have to say, I have this material, I need connection in Israel. This is the issue. The process is, as I say, someone have to make, and a few times we have ambassador here. I'm not far away. I think 1 month, 2 months, MPC could be here and in Bahrain. But before that, don't wait. You have good address. Rafi could be the center that is give all the information. First of all, if you think to go to necessary process, he have the connection with us. So we have the system to found the partner. First of all, you come in here, you say what you want, we give you the first information, and after that, we send you as a delegation, maybe alone, to Israel, and we found for you the partner. Of course, you could stay there till you finish all the business, all the contracts, no problem. Maybe before you come, you could do it from far distance relationship. And I'm sure now the technology is not a problem. We have enough to make everything right. And of course, we wait for that. I know that around the oil, Amarat is one of the famous states. We need Israel is impaired in plastic, and of course in other things that from the oil. And because that, I don't want to beginning to talk specifically about something that is, I don't know what people here exactly wanted, but you have the address. Let us move to make economic. Economic is the solution to stop the violence, to stop the extremism. If you have cooperation, economic cooperation, you have the brother, because you have interest to stop anything that is not give value life to your citizen. This is what I believe, and the Amarat is the important states that the economic in Amarat very strong, and in Israel the same. And we have if we are together, we impair and more than what people thinking.
Any other questions, please?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the very interesting, enlightening presentation. I've got a technical question actually about the banking sector. Are there any plans for Israeli banks to set up here in the IFC? And what would be of interest to them in terms of the type of business that they would like to grow here? And is there also any interest in project financing type transactions in the infrastructure sector, in the solar sector, where there could be joint syndicates amongst Israeli banks and Emirati banks and international banks?
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
That's your area, Raphael.
Yes.
okay. But will I answer Ayoob, even if it's...
Look, first of all the banks of Israel visiting here from after 2 days, 3 days, was big delegation from Israel, banks and the famous banks coming here, and there was participate here in different meeting. And you must know that the banks of Israel in all the world, you could find Bank Leumi in London, in Berlin, and everywhere. And of course, I'm sure that they're going to open also here office or bank. The other thing is, I'm talking with Rafi to open foundation. I have the money from Israel. We need the partner here. We're going to talk tomorrow about that to help the companies here in this area in Amarat to make business. That means the foundation help companies that want to invest in both sides. I have the money from Israel. I hope that I found the money here, and because to make a cooperation in right way and legitimate and everything, and anything you needed more than that, we got no problem to make any meeting with different bank that is necessary to make the right steps with any agreement with any business that you go.
I'm quite sure, if you allow me, my dear friend, I'm quite sure that the Israeli banks have a big interest in this market. There's no doubt. Yeah, I'm not sure if they will jump into retail, because as we all know, we are living in a different century. I'm not sure if it makes a lot of sense opening a lot of little branches to go to retail banking. What for sure could be very interesting is project finance. Project finance, it will, on a hub like we have here in DMG, as we have also in Abu Dhabi global markets here. There are amazing legal hubs from where you can structure the business, local, global finance projects here with any facilities. I think we will see very soon structured finance, syndicated credits here in joint ventures between Emirati banks, banks from Israel, investment funds, like the minister says. One of the ideas is to set up an investment fund here to invest into companies on both sides of like a bilateral fund, yeah, into technology, and also why not into technology in very future technology where this country is absolutely leading, because we always talk about the business hub, but we also have to see that the UAE, without any doubt, is a technology place. And of course, we would love to see projects in the way of space technology. There's something very big going on, as we all know here. Ahmed knows much more than we all together probably hear about this issue. And these are projects where Israeli companies would love to invest, of course, and where we can see projects together, yeah. So I'm very sure that we can see very soon syndicated credits, project finance, also from the private side, shadow banking, all these things will appear here very soon. It's only a question of time. As soon as it's possible to set up the legal structure where, as far as we know, the leaders are working very hard on it at this moment. Any other question?
Yes, good evening. My name is Dr. Mazda Grafati. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. This is a very, very interesting event. I had a question, but you started talking about money and foundation, and I just want to introduce myself as a potential partner. So if you basically want to consider. All jokes aside, I think one of the strategic aspects of UAE has been, as you just mentioned, to become basically an innovation hub. I think there's a lot of overlappings, but also mentoring a few startups myself. There is this a little bit of insecurity that this young plant of the startups ecosystem that is happening here can actually suffer from this vacuum that takes away the funding away from the local market to the high tech actually that is far ahead in Israel. Now, do you see any, as they say, reciprocity there that basically, I personally think the two markets can be very fruitful for each other, but how do you address these kind of insecurity that is? I think Mr. Mansoori was talking about these expectations, but also kind of insecurity that is there and needs to be gapped.
I see synergies. I don't see overlapping things. I see big synergies between both countries. Both countries are very innovative and young countries. I'm very convinced we will see very soon joint ventures of startup companies, of yet very young companies. I'm very happy, and of course we will think very clear and speak with you very happily about co-investing. It sounds good that somebody wants to bring money. We take the offer, no doubt on it. Let's find the legal framework. That's where we want to come. Yeah, that's the point where we want to go. We want to go straight on to the business and see what we can do. No doubt at all, there will be Israeli and local joint ventures, and I'm very sure from what I've spoken with some of my local friends who are local to a certain point, they don't have a local passport, but they are local, as yourself probably, yeah. One of the things what I was telling to the beginning to all my Israeli friends, don't miss off the other community. We have around about 28% Indians in this country, we have 14% Pakistani. There's a lot of people from different countries here. Let's make business with them. Let's use the opportunity. The great thing about this country, it's absolutely unique and outstanding. It's a global business hub like no other one in the world. Yeah, I've been in a lot of countries due to personal circumstances, but we should be very proud of this. Thank you very much. And I see there will be a lot of joint venture possibilities, and I don't see the overlapping. It's not that, and I see very modern and very innovative technology. I think it will boost the area of the Gulf. I don't think as far as I've seen from the leaders here, they never have been afraid about competition. They always think that competition is something very healthy. And I think if they're not afraid about competition, we should not be afraid of competition. We should take the advantage of it.
But if I may add, I think you mentioned about insecurities in the SMEs. I think that's why we're focusing about each one can take leadership of their own projects. When we all started from the beginning, we started, and there are big companies before existed. We made our way up. So nothing is changing. The incentive, the culture, everything's paving away. Nothing is taken from here and there. And as Raphael was saying, it's about complementing one another and synergy. And any project or anything has to be a win-win situation. And you are living here in a country where we are very pragmatic, very practical, and and the success here did not happen It's not a success for 1 year or 2 years. It's accumulation of successes after one after another, and we are reaching advancement. We are into different sectors. I think what people want to hear mainly, we need, when we're going to transfer from the nurturing level of these projects into where I go directly to the bank. I go directly to the, if I am in a certain sector, I can deal with people directly without having someone to help me. We have to, like with other countries, we deal with different countries. I don't have to go through my ambassador there to help me there. We don't need that. So how can we be like, how can we reach that level there? And thirdly, you talked about the space and others. We dealt with countries, they were willing to share with us know-how.
Absolutely.
And they were willing to share with us, and they were visionary, and we were growing with them. But if you have lots of restrictions, nobody will come to you. And then so that's why we are very practical. Wherever money goes, where the real success goes, and we have to take very calculated risk. And in any business, you have to take some risk. But I'm not gonna fight. Oh, because there's a deal with Israel. Oh, the money goes there. That's not true. I mean, we cannot just have. We say in Arabic, coat hanger, shammat. So we have to really, believe in our project, and then see is it worth to invest or not. And the opportunities are a lot. And for any business people from this side, if I can speak at least, people are very serious. What's the return of the project? We receive lots of proposals, but what's the return? What's in it for us? What's the return? And I think it's the same thing from the other side. So we want to make sure that business people can talk to business people. I don't think business people, they want to speak to the government. They want to speak to their counterparts in their sector, in their area. So even with the delegations, we have big delegations, very important, but also specialized delegations. People, they want to talk to their own sectors. Because sometimes when you go with big delegations, the time, with the quality of time spent with our counterparts is not the same. So it has to be done in a very intellectual and smart way. And here innovation will come from that. So I think opportunities are there. They're not losing. Peace with Israel will increase the opportunity. We're increasing the market, and from both sides. So it's not a new market taking over another market. So
the ambassador and the embassy and any formally, they only give you connecting. They are not help you to make the business. Here we could give you the right process to and with Raphael, and we are in Israel to find for you the solutions. That means you at last you take the decisions. No way that you do mistake, because all the time they are processed till you feel and you trust that you do the right steps and of course the agreement.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Please. Good. Working? Yeah. At the beginning, I would like to thank the Abrahamic Business Circle and Capital Club and Your Excellency for this great event tonight. A few days ago, we heard about big number of flights between UAE and Israel, 28 flights weekly or 4 flights per day. This is quite big number. Is it because of to attract the business travel or to attract the tourism? This is first part of the question. Another question, are we going to see Israeli residents to live here in Dubai to invest in real estate in the future or not?
Look, I want to say that is no border now between Emirates and Israel. I mean, people wait that they open the borders because till now is not free. That they want to come and invest here. You could hear it in the roads and everywhere. And real estate, of course, everything is no problem. You could find Israeli and everywhere. Of course, Amarat, that they looking at the friendship of Israel. And of course, I'm sure also that if you could find thousands or hundreds of thousands of tourism here and people coming to live here. Remember that, because we do it with Egypt, with the Jordanian, with everywhere that we have a peace. Of course, the Gulf state is economic peace. That means together is impaired peace with economic. This is what I'm looking around. No one could stop that.
I'm quite convinced we will see a lot of real estate deals here in the UAE from Israeli citizens, mainly to a very simple issue. Since last year, we have here in the UAE something called economic substance, what was introduced by the OECD. Yeah, So every business owner should have an economic substance. He should have here not only a postbox company, he should have here a proper infrastructure. And if he has this proper infrastructure, he has a very interesting tax structuring issue here in this country. What I'm very convinced that a lot of Israelis will understand very quickly, because I think they have good economic understanding in general terms. And I'm very convinced they will use it. I'm not sure if they will be able to fulfill all the expectations what we have in a very short time, but I'm very sure that we will see property deals, a lot of real estate transactions going on, because it's a very interesting market. The UAE, you get very good returns. You have a very good product here in the UAE, with no doubt. And with no doubt, they are an amazing place to live and also to spend holidays. It's a very secure place. So I'm very convinced we will see a lot of transactions very soon. Sorry.
Hello. Yes. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay, my name is Abdul Latif Barakat. Actually, I'm working. Okay. Sorry.
جرب شوية. Make it closer to your mouth.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Abdul Latif Barakat. Actually, I'm the assistant of the president of the Economic Peace Center. It's not a question. I just want to add some more details here.
Come stand here.
Please, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, our role actually is to help other businesses to build the trust business relationship, and to also to guide them to do the feasibility studies, and to make sure that to minimize the risk as much as we can. We are in Israel. We are very strong in many sectors, but that doesn't mean that anyone wants to invest in Israel, we will help him in order to choose the right partner and to make sure not to lose his money there. So this is not the first country that we are working with. We are working with South America, with North America, with Europe. We are working also with Africa. So we have a lot of experience in this, and we can be your address and helping you, of course, with cooperation with the Abrahamic Business Circle to build a successful business. This is the idea, is not just to build a business, as also Mr. Ahmed said, it's not just to throw the money there, but also to build actually a successful business that can get the benefits to the peoples and not to the peoples. Here we are looking for peace on the people level, not just on the government level, and I think that we are on the right way, and we will successfully reach that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
I think one of the outstanding things what you have in your organization, there's no doubt, you are a non-profit organization, to make it clear from the beginning. Yeah, it's a non-profit organization, and we have, I think, the unique situation in Israel that we have a minister with so much experience, knowing the Jewish culture, but at the same time being Arab. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and it's an amazing gateway to the country. Yeah, and I'm sure he will be able to open a lot of doors in Israel for a lot of people with big interest.
I want to say a few words about that.
Excellent.
Long years was it in the government of Israel, and of course in the parliament. But the important issue was beside me to make the Middle East different. I lose my two brothers in the war of Israel. I'm alone in this world, alone, because the terror. And to make peace agreement between Israel and another Arabian states, it's my vision was long years. We are not thinking that we have to fighting. We're thinking to fight the extremism is to make peace economy. That means economic peace is win the extremism. And this is my policy long time. I give for that big price in the road of Israel, but at last I was the right. I found the direction that people from the Gulf state going to visit in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and from Israel they're going to come to the Gulf state. Most of the Israelis now thinking that the important issue to successful with these agreements with Amarat, with Bahrain, with Sudan, with Saudi, I think, in the future, maybe in a few weeks. There are another states. I don't want to talk about that, who is coming, number 4, but I'm thinking could be Mauritania or Oman, but we are in the process of the value life. And the Israeli looking very happy about all what's happening, and they going to give answer to invest in everything in the Gulf states. This is the answer for that. And I'm sure that we're going to successful, that at last, most of the state in the Middle East going to the same direction. No way to stop it, because they understand that the violence, the extremism didn't give any benefit. And I'm sure I'm going to all my life, till the last day in my life, to help in this process. It's because I'm give big price before my brother also. They're killing my 2 uncles also in the wars. So it's to make peace is something in my heart, something in my life. And I'm sure that anything, any company, anything they needed from Israel as the peace economic, we found for you the solution. And of course, you have good address to give you, to convince you before you come in, how to do the right steps. Don't worry, we have everything answer for that. Israel is a legally state. Everything like the books. You couldn't find it in other places more than Israel. Israel very democracy, but when you make any business, as the book. The book, I mean, illegally, absolutely nothing could we not do it I mean, not legally. So welcome all of you, and I'm sure that any company that's coming to Israel, invest, and the same thing, they're going to come lot of companies. I know every day they're talking to me. Till now is not free to come in, but in a few weeks, I think everything opening, and the 2 states, they're going to found themselves in big benefit here in Amarat, of course, in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayoob. As you all can see, sorry.
No, I just wanted to add a few things. Being the executive chairman and majority shareholder of the Capital Club, first of all, I'm happy that at least we've started the first really discussion about what's going to follow. But I just want to say we are very lucky here in UAE. As Emiratis, we're already lucky because I think we've had the great wisdom of rulers that have followed policies that have not been followed by any other country. And therefore, we're not only unique worldwide, we are unique among even the Arab countries. And it's a young nation. Next year, we celebrate 50 years of our existence. And for those who are as old as me and have seen the old days of the two states before it became the UAE in 1971, they would really feel how this place has been a construction camp ever since day one, and it still is. It has never stopped developing. It has never stopped. And why? Because the rulers, okay, you might say, our system here is a way that all the rulers are focused on one thing, which is the happiness of their nation, of their UAE nation. Where in the world you will have a country where the locals are less than 10% of the population, and every single nation lives here happily, as long as they are make any rules. They're most welcome. They can do what they like. And a lot of them have become millionaires in this part of the world over the years, and it continues. Now, even now, it's a brave step for our rulers to take this decision. It's no easy decision, and there will be criticisms from everywhere. But we have chosen one route, which is a route of construction, building, and tolerance. And therefore, not only when the Pope is still here, I mean, a lot of things as well, because we believe in all religions, that they have a place in this. And you will see, over the years, there is a church, there is every thought, a temple, every single religion, because people have a religion is a code of conduct, it's a moving of God. But when we come back to where are we going to go from now, what do we see in the future? This is a brave step that has to be followed by many others. Don't underestimate the economic and trade wisdom of the Emiratis. Sheikh Rashid himself, who I've worked for many years, from day one when he came to power, he wanted everyone of his nationals to be a trade. He believed in business and trade. And is not only Sheikh Zayed, the most generous person. This day, you look at the whole world, where is there any country that contributes the greatest percentage of its wealth for the benefit of other nations, whatever there is a disaster, whatever there is need of help from any kind? Okay, the Arab world has to wake up, the same as Israel has to wake up. The Arabs and Jews have lived forever as one nation everywhere. You look at countries like Yemen, Iraq, Morocco, everything. They've always lived as one nation. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. This is not my business. I'm a businessman, and I don't care too much about politics. But eventually, hopefully, by making this economic alliance and economic opening up, it will encourage everyone to wake up and say, stop the destruction of your own countries and wasting billions of dollars, and concentrate and focus on the development of your own country. If you can do what the UAE has done, then everybody will be the happiest in the world. Forget about the extremists and everything. What has encouraged the extremists and who created these extremists? We know that, but that's a political issue. I don't want to get into that. But what we are to make peace, a lasting peace of all the people of the world. And it's time that the Middle East enjoy a true and lasting peace. I won't go anymore because I can get into more story. But business, you don't know my background. We have been trained to develop business. And we've created multi-billion-dollar empires, companies from nothing. Among the Emiratis are now some of the most brilliant, not only technologically, but financially, business-wise. They've been trained fully well by the rulers and by the cosmopolitan nature of the whole country. Everybody has come here to work hard. And competition has been from day one, very, very strong competition. That's one thing that made us tough.
Exactly.
And really understand this.
Resilient, yeah.
They are resilient, and the business people will find their way.
Exactly.
To themselves, don't worry. A little encouragement from the government is a good thing, of course.
Exactly.
But eventually, we also have to work for a lasting peace, hopefully, in many different ways. And I think this is the desire and the hope and the wish of every single person in the Middle East. So let's all work hard to that. And I think this is a good step. It's the first step. And many other steps will have to follow.
Yeah.
But we have to believe. We have to believe in peace and prosperity.
Exactly.
And you look, who is the strongest trading partner for us today? China, India, US. Why not Israel? Why not any other country? We're all business people. But apart from business, that also the politicians work for peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Server, for your words of wisdom and experience. I think most of us.
I want to give a flag for you from Rotary of Israel and to Abu Obaid. If you could.
Oh, it would be a big pleasure. Thanks.
Yes.
Hi.
We should.
Yeah,
Sorry.
another one. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
We will make the exchange of flags if you
Well,
allow me.
thank
with
you.
the
A
Rotary.
few minutes
Sure.
only.
Can we wait 1 second for your
Yes.
question?
I
So we
get-
have the opportunity.
Give-
Pasquale, you should. That's for you. That's not for me.
All right.
And this is for my friend. They give me flowers from India, so I have to give you. Yeah.
Pasquale, please. The floor is yours. I want to introduce you to all of you who don't know him. Pasquale, our
Come, Satish.
president of the Rotary of Dubai.
Oh.
Absolutely outstanding personality.
You know, this is my city. I promised them that I found you and give you the flag, but I don't found you, so I give him to.
Thank you so much. In this last period of time.
So he crossed
I'm
it. They
receiving-
go to you. Because you are the.
No.
And I gave him
Which
next
country?
time.
Which
Relative
It's a gift.
from here.
because we are in
They
touch
they
with
trying to
Haifa,
connect
with,
you.
Which
You
one
are
is
not
this?
found
Which
you.
city?
They say I promised them to give you that.
Thank you ever so much.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing symbol.
Thank you,
That
Pascal.
makes amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I will arrange to send our
Thank you.
banner letter. Thank you very much.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please, your question.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Sorry for cutting you off.
Take it all. I'll start. Thanks.
I am a journalist on the East Side. See, there has been a lot of excitement in there, and there is a lot of
Thank you.
expectations. And I'm a little confused, that the Abrahamic roundtable, how is it related to the UAE-Israel Business Council, which has been formed? And one more thing, and so where do we get the latest updates on the things happening? Because there have been a lot of things happening over the last 1 month. At present, there is a high-level Israeli delegation here in the UAE, led by, or it includes 13 CEOs, led by JVP, that is Jerusalem Venture Partners. They are here, and then a lot of other partnerships are also happening. So what would be your role, and what would be the role of the UAE-Israel Business Council? Where do we get information? Is there any single point window where we can get answers to our questions? This is what we want to ask.
First of all, we are not the Abrahamic Roundtable. We are the Abrahamic Business Circle here. And our idea is to be only a catalysator, a circle of high-level individuals, of entrepreneurs who want to stimulate business between Israel, the UAE, and globally. That's what we are. We are nothing more than this. We are a private organization that is focused on stimulating business with the idea to create economic peace through business. That's what we are. And like in any democratic place in Israel or autocratic place even, you find a lot of places that offer you information. And I have a very dear friend who's leading another organization here, Alexander, and if you want to introduce yourself later, would be very nice. He's also helping Israeli companies to come to this country. And there are a lot of points. And I think what we all want to do, and that's what you can see very much with my dear friend Ayoob, my brother, it's not related all to business. Business is very important because only if we are all happy and our tummy is full, probably we will behave and we don't will fight with each other. That's a very basic issue, yeah? But our main thing, what we want to create, it's a question of principles and of vision. We want to create peace. That's our wish for very personal reasons. He has his personal reason, I'm sure Ahmed has his we all are convinced why we have all children. We want to give our children a better environment for the future. And this is not only empty words. I have the luck that I have my oldest son here even today supporting this event and trying to make it happening. Yeah. And I think that's what we all should try. There are a lot of people who you can connect them, and let's make things really happen. We have to come out from the point that we only talk about things. You're right. There's a lot of excitement. Unfortunately, the legal environment is still not 100%, but I can promise you, we have a long waiting list from companies here and from Israel who want to set up and who have asked us, help us, introduce us. We are waiting a little bit for a legal framework. As soon as the legal framework is here, for banking, legal, and so on, we will do it.
My friend, I want to, in this opportunity, I forget something to tell you. When I was the minister of the region in the government of Israel, long years people did not talk about in the media. It was not popular. But long year we prepare kids from all the Arabian area. Kids from all the Arabian area, from Syria, from Iraq, from Kurdish, from the Gulf states, kids that their age 1 year, few months, 5 years, we bring him to Israel from the side of the humanitarian. We have hospital for them, discreet, that we give him, we bring him. We cooperate with the church in Jerusalem. They bring him from different states from the Arabian area. These kids coming with one parents, father or mother, to Israel, and we give him back their life. I mean, we do for them surgeries of heart. We call to this project Save Child Heart. Save Child Heart. This organization, before 1 year, was the best organization in all the world. People did not know this is organization from Israel. People did not talk that if we have every day 70 kids, Arabian, from different area, from different country, that we help them for no money. This is one of the humanitarian project. We have another project for the Syrian refugees and Syrian that injuries. That's another area. I mean, another state around us, they are not accepting. We bring them to our hospitals, sometimes in night, because they did not want anyone know. And we also bring him to our hospital. This is decision that I do it in the government. We bring him to different hospitals. Sometimes they are not have a leg, sometimes they are not have a hand, and we bring him. This is not our war. In Syria is not our war, but we bring him to. I could say another things, but Israel so much humanitarian. Now with Amarat, I'm very happy that we could go to new process that is give economic process, not humanitarian process, and we is the address for that with our friends that we are important system, the right direction. We found for everyone the solution.
Last word from you, Ahmed, please.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very wonderful question. I mean, these initiatives which are happening in the country, and before that, thanks to His Excellency about his word of wisdom. When a businessman talks about politics, that's wisdom for us. So, and it's very important for us. And thank you for His Excellency Mr. Ayoob for also emphasizing the issue of humanitarian. That's important. Again, we are human. If we have to also, the communities are, it's complete thing. There's business, there's politics, there's humanitarian areas, there are multiple areas. So we have to have complete solutions. That it's a package that we have to take. And I think there are a lot, each country can add value to the other country, you know, if we are sincere about what we do. And I think, you know, at this stage, we really, these initiatives are very important to help us to pave the way so people can do the business directly. Like, for example of India, we have business with India directly for a long time, generations. You know, we don't have to go to the Indian government to make business with the Indian company, and vice versa. So it paved the way very beautifully. We have to reach the level of not to have nurtured us to this area, just to go directly. I think what matters is people to people. That's why, I mean, the government's job is to pave the way politically, diplomatically, to make sure to make this peace happening in all aspects. Business is very important for us. Humanitarian areas are very important. At the same time, the cultural aspects, very important. So this is the cultural aspect, and which cascades from the leadership. The cultural aspect is, can cement this relationship. People don't come to the UAE because of the oil or because of the business only. There are other things that attract them here. So, and just being yourself, being able to be successful, to realize your dreams. Many countries talk about that they are the land of opportunities. I think here is the land of opportunities for the whole country. At the same time, they are very close to their homeland. They can go back and forth, and so most people who come here are very innovative. Entrepreneurs, they want to realize their successes, but at the same time, they don't want to detach from their roots. So I think mostly people who are here very think forward, and they are not thinking backward. They are very thinking of the future. And as Raphael was saying, all of us have children, and not all of us, but we have children. But but they are children. But we think, what about the future generation? Regardless of our children or not, but the future generation to have better life. And there are lots of initiatives. So these initiatives are good, are positive. I'm not against them. And the competition among these initiatives to pave the way also is healthy. So healthy to make this piece a success at all levels. And we need to see individuals to benefit at the quick level. And I agree with His Excellency, Mr. Sultan Al-Jalebi, when he mentioned that, we are about development. Development is the key. And if you think about yourself, your house, your nation, your citizens, and your nation, then you can give. We have something saying فَقَدُ الشَّيْء لَا يُعْطِي. So if you don't think about yourself, you don't have that priority, you're not going to be able to give others. You have to help yourself and others. And I think and we have been successful. We have the accumulation of successes and the acceleration of success in all sectors are there, and we are open. If people are open to share with us their know-how, we are very happy, and we grow with them. They don't want to share with us, we can go to other places. So we are very free. It's a very free market here. At the same time, we have to think of how can we complement one another. It's not just people try to sell us goods and services and we operate them. We have to think how can we be involved in the stage of setting standard specification, stage of putting the design, setting a stage of production and development. Here we have people they will focus on building their sectors themselves instead of getting busy of thinking of other countries. So here we have to help that. So here the true synergy happens and the long-term relationship from our experiences.
So you see, at the end of the day, we bring everything not to B2B, not B2C. We bring everything down to H, human to human. That's what we are looking. I wish you all a lovely evening. Thank you for attending here.
Thank you very much for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks, sir.
Shalom, shalom.
Vielen lieben Dank.
What's really? Yeah. You are here in Dubai?
Also,
Okay.